To start answering calls from the contact centre, make sure you're logged into the UCC and you are in the available state in Teams. You will now be offered customer calls. When a customer call comes through to you, a Teams notification window will appear at the bottom right of the screen. It will state the UCC the call is coming from, as well as the customer's number. Answer the call by clicking on the blue phone icon. When you've answered the customer call, the Teams call window will open and your presence will change from ready to busy in a call. When on a call with a customer, you have several call handling options. From the call window, you can see the number of the customer. In the top left, you can see the duration of the call. And on the top right of the call window, you can see your call controls. First is the dial pad icon. You'll need this to enter any information or options down the phone line. You can do so by clicking on the numbers or using your keyboard. Next, you have the participant icon. From here you can see who is in your current conversation and if they're muted. You can add further people from here if you need to. The three dots icon is where you'll find your call controls. To place your customer on hold, click on the three dots icon in the call window and select Hold. The customer will be put on hold and begin listening to either hold music or beeps. The word hold will appear in the middle of the screen, as well as the time duration indicating how long the customer has been on hold. To resume the call, click on the Resume button. When it comes to transferring your customer, there are two types of transfer that you can perform: a consult transfer and a blind transfer. A blind transfer will transfer the customer straight to your colleague without announcing it to them or checking that they're able to take it. A consult transfer allows you to speak to your colleague first to inform them about the call before transferring your customer to them. Click on the three dots in the calling window and select Transfer. Your customer will automatically go on hold and the transfer window will open. From here, you can enter a number or search for an internal colleague to transfer your customer to. Select the contact and click on the Transfer button again. Your customer will now be transferred over to your colleague. Your colleague will receive a call notification identifying that it's a transferred call that they're receiving from a colleague as well as the customer's number. To perform a consult transfer, click on the three dots in the calling window and select Consult, then Transfer. Your customer will automatically go on hold. The transfer window will open, and from here you can enter a number or search for an internal colleague to transfer your customer to. There are two ways to consult with your colleague before transferring. You can either call them or chat to them. To perform the transfer by calling your colleague, click on the arrow next to the chat icon and select Audio Call. You are now calling your colleague while the customer remains on hold. There will be two calling windows on your PC, one between yourself and the customer and another one between yourself and your colleague. You can toggle between both the customer and your colleague by clicking on the Resume button at the top of the call window for each caller. To complete the transfer, click on the transfer icon at the top of the call window between yourself and your colleague. If your colleague can't take the call right now, select Leave to hang up on your current call and select Resume to return back to the customer. Alternatively, you can do a consult transfer by sending your colleague a Teams message. To send a Teams message, click on the chat button. A chat box will open and you can send a message detailing the customer's query. To complete the transfer, click on the transfer button at the top of the chat window. You can also perform an ad hoc conference call by adding a colleague to your customer call. To add someone to the call, click on the participants icon in the call window. Type in your colleague's name and select Add to Call. Once your colleague answers and accepts the call, Teams will turn it into a conference call. You will now have the same functionality as if you're in a Teams meeting. You can also mute your customer to avoid hearing their background noise. To mute a customer, click on the mute button to the right of the screen. If the customer wants to unmute themselves, they must press *6 on their keypad. When you finish the call, you can leave the call or end it. If you leave the call, you will leave your colleague on the phone with the customer. Select the arrow next to the Leave button to end the call for everyone. There are a few factors to consider when making an external call. Calls can be made straight from the Snapper or Microsoft Teams, but this will depend on your company policies and procedures. We advise using the Snapper toolbar to make external calls. Calls made from the Snapper are recorded and reported on. The number being displayed to the customer will be the call centre number rather than your direct number. Internal calls must be made using Teams. Callers will see your profile and calls will not be reported on or recorded. To make an external call from the Snapper, click on the dial pad icon at the top left and enter the customer's number, including the plus sign and the country code. Don't forget you may need to drop the leading 0 of the phone number. Once you click on the green icon, Teams will call you. Answer the call and Teams will then call the customer. You can then proceed with your phone call as normal. You'll have the same call handling capabilities as if you're receiving a customer call. When you finish your call, the system will put you into wrap-up mode, but this will depend on the configuration of your UCC. During this time, you won't receive any additional calls. This time can be used to finish any notes about the previous customer or to finish classifying a call. You can increase your wrap-up time or cancel it for that call. The wrap-up counter can be viewed from the main dashboard or the Snapper toolbar if this has been enabled in the settings. To increase the time, click on the plus icon. The wrap-up time will increase by 10 seconds as default unless this setting has been changed. If you find you no longer need the wrap-up time, you can cancel it by clicking on the cancel icon. When your wrap-up time has ended, you'll be placed straight back into available, ready to take another customer call.